Not true. That's impossible! What? No! No!
Wow, I know a lot of you are just as in shock as we are at the fuel prices and wondering what's going to happen to our plans this year for camping. Well, we started RV camping, Sheree and I, on a very, very tight budget. So we actually have a lot of tips to share with you guys. Plus, we opened up the question on Facebook and Instagram, and wow, hundreds of comments about what you guys plan to do, but also tips on how to save money for camping, for fuel costs, and other things. And that's what this video is about. Sheree and I have made many videos on how to RV on the cheap. In fact, one of our very first videos that got a lot of views was, could you RV for $1,000 a month or less? And actually a few people could, and maybe that's not very realistic, but when you put that challenge out there, people get very creative, and there's a lot of great information in that video and actually the comments. So what I'm going to recommend to you guys is, after watching this video, go to that playlist. That link will be down in the description as well. Watch those videos, but again, make sure you read the comments. If you're watching on a smart TV, you might need to get on a laptop or on your phone to be able to read the comments, but that is just a wealth of money saving information on these videos. So what are your plans? Are you cutting back on camping? Are you not going at all? Are you continuing your plans just as they are? Make sure you comment down below, but also share any of your tips on how you plan to handle the increased fuel prices and inflation in general. I'm also planning a series of how to RV for less. We have got several videos planned. Actually, make sure you subscribe, because one of the next videos coming up is all of the places that we can park or camp at for free, whether it's a quick overnight or for stays on BLM land that's up to 14 days and even longer. We've had a lot of requests for this video, and we're going to put it all into one. So again, be sure to subscribe so you catch that. Plus, we have several other free camping and boondocking videos from last year that we still have to edit. They're quite extensive edits, so they're still coming out. But gosh, the Tetons and Moab. We've got a free campsite here in Florida to edit as well. So those will be coming out, and there's lots of great tips in those videos as well. Now, this video is going to be divided into sections. I'll put chapters and timestamps down below, but the first section is how to save money on fuel. That's what everybody's talking about, thinking about right now. But also, the second section will be how to save money on camping and campsites. The third section will be general money saving tips, because it's cash in or out, whether you spend it on fuel or camping or groceries, it's still money that you're spending going in or out. So we want to save money everywhere. But also, the fourth section is ways to make some side hustle money. Maybe that's another way that you can help to manage the increase in expenses by generating a little extra cash. So we'll share some tips on that, as well as tips from you guys. And the fifth section is, what are the possible benefits to higher fuel prices? Yes, there's actually some benefits, and I will share that with you as well. And stick around till the end, because I'm going to share what Sheree and I have planned for the next several months and what we are doing to save money. We are actually, from now until near the end of July, fully booked out, solid, zero camping fees mostly full hookups. That's right, we'll share exactly what we're doing to do that, and also how we save money on groceries, which you guys might be surprised on what that is, so make sure you watch the entire video. Shuri and I believe that you should not cancel your plans, maybe adjust your plans. I think the best way to look at this situation is in a positive light. Why? Well, you're going to feel better about it. You want to enjoy your journey, right? And if you have regrets about what you can't do this season, you may not be as happy about the trips that you can take. Look at it like a challenge. How creative can you be and create a fabulous camping season for you and your family? Like what Can We Bark here says from Instagram, all of us are seriously going to have to get creative. We are planning on solely boondocking to save money, as well as not driving far distances while the prices are so high. And also, the engine works calm on Instagram. I've looked into making biodiesel over the years. I may try a 50-50 mix of used veggie oil and diesel. Of course, there is a process. You can't just dump it in the tank. Now, that's creative. Definitely let us know if that actually works for you. Yeah, don't ruin your diesel engine. That would be an expense you wouldn't want to have. So let's get into these money saving tips. Number one, how to save money on fuel. And there's a few people that are thinking that maybe prices are going to go down right away. And we can all hope for that, but I think you need to plan for the prices to be at where they are or possibly higher. And what we've seen in the past is fuel prices go up quickly and they're slow to come down. Plus, we are about at spring break where there's lots of travel going on, but the summer travel season, the main camping season, prices are usually the highest of the year at that point anyway. So if you plan and you budget for higher prices and the prices go down, hey, that's more money for fun or for savings or whatever. But I certainly would not expect them to go down soon. And from Debbie2209 on Instagram, she says, definitely taking advantage of our TSD fuel card. That's this card right here. And for the RV newbies out there that don't know what the TSD fuel card is, it's a card that you sign up for. It's for diesel only. So if you've got a big diesel truck that you tow your RV with, or you have a diesel motorhome, it's great for that because you can save, it's usually 20 to up to 40 cents, sometimes more, off per gallon at certain truck stops. When you use the card, it deducts it directly out of your checking account. There's an app that shows you locations where you can go. And you can also refer your friends, which is perfect right now. And you get like a $25 referral fee for that. So it's been very cool. So sometimes on my statement, I'll have maybe spent $100 on diesel, but it will only be $50 because of several people that we've referred. So think about that as well. Now, if I can't use the TSD card, then I'm going to use one of our rewards credit cards to at least get some rewards points. And I'll link to those down below. And yes, we pay off our credit cards every month. Meegs2158 on Instagram says, I joined all gas company loyalty plans, plus just got Get Upside cash back for gas purchases. I've already earned over $10 for just 4 fill-ups. Definitely recommend. And I want to also note that, yeah, you can stack certain discount programs as well. We haven't been really great about that. But yeah, certain programs you can use together and they don't necessarily cancel each other out. So that's a pretty cool strategy. And the next way to save money on fuel is to drive slower. Now, I always travel around 60 miles per hour when I'm towing with the truck. And that definitely saves from some of you speed demons out there that like to go 70, 75 with a heavy RV, which is not safe anyway. Slow down and you'll be surprised at how much you can save. But even in general, just going slower when it's just going out in your truck, not towing, or your adventure car, you can save a lot of money by just driving slower. Odyssey Camper on Instagram says, nope, we'll just drive a bit slower and get 30 miles per gallon instead of 27. House on Wheelies on Instagram says, we're getting ready to head into California where the prices are insane. Yes, I'm glad our travel plans are not going to California this year. It's not going to change our plans, but we're definitely going to map our routes carefully. And you know, that's really important because it's not just the fastest route that you would like to take to get there. You need to be aware of going through the mountains and that gain in elevation and what that does, because you can chew through a lot of fuel just trying to get up a small hill or big mountain. So sometimes a longer route around the mountains may be the best option to save money. And the next tip to save money on fuel is just to camp longer in one spot. Maybe you're used to racing around and only spending 2 or 3 nights in one camp spot. Well, maybe spend a week, maybe spend 2 weeks. Cherie and I like to spend 3 weeks if we can, and sometimes longer. And if your camping trip is for multiple different places, maybe your campsites can be closer. Instead of traveling hundreds of miles between campsites, maybe they can be just 25 or 50 miles apart. That's another way to possibly save money on your trip. If you are not full-time and you still have an apartment, a house, a sticks and bricks somewhere, maybe think about camping closer to home. And that dreaded word that some people don't like, a staycation, which could be in your own backyard or your own driveway at the extreme level, but maybe be a tourist in your own town or city or state or county. Maybe there's a great campsite that's 25 or 50 miles away that you can get to and still have that feeling that you're getting out in the middle of nowhere. And there's probably things that you've been putting off exploring in your own city or state that you just haven't done because it's always there. Well, now is the time to maybe go explore those locations. Jimmy Jennifer Graham on Instagram says, not going far from home to camp while gas prices are like this. Thankfully, we have many places nearby that still give you that get away from it all feeling. Yes, we agree. Can you combine all of your trips into like one trip per week? For example, run your errands, get groceries, whatever you need to do, travel as less as possible when you're at one particular location, or take advantage of free delivery services like Amazon, or maybe the local grocery store will deliver the food that you've ordered. Carolyn Walker Reynolds says on Instagram, most definitely. We were supposed to be starting full-time living in July, traveling from Maine to Florida. With gas prices like this, my only travel will be on my bike. And better yet, use your bike or an e-bike, for example, for some of these short errands. Maybe you can get to the grocery store and something that's not too far away. Plus it's exercise, so might be time to dust off that bike or e-bike and start using that more. And use other gas apps like Gas Buddy for finding the best prices. It's amazing when I pull up the Gas Buddy app how varied the prices can be. They can vary by sometimes 50 cents or more per gallon. And avoid getting fuel at touristy areas. Those are typically the worst rates. Or like a freeway entrance or exit. It's best to be a smaller area, but there's still competition. There's still several gas stations and they're all competing for your business. Will probably be some of your best rates. Now for the second section is how to save money on camping. Camping fees can be some of your biggest expenses as well, so we want to save money there. My RV Therapy on Instagram says, and I love that name by the way, to answer your question, no, I have made my bus to be off-grid, which already saves me enough money per night to purchase about 5 to 10 gallons of fuel by avoiding needing full hookups. By being off-grid, my nightly stay cost ranges from $0 to $20 versus the $40 to $100 a night I see at some camping resorts. Yes, boondocking and free camp spots. There are free camp spots in just about every state out there. We highly recommend that. Shree and I have done a lot of that, and we could talk about that for the entire video, but we've made a lot of other videos that we will link down below, so be sure to check those out. There are different things like a solar and battery setup that will really help you to be able to do that. The app that we use to find most of our free campsites is the Dirt Pro, and there's actually a link down below where you can get a 90-day free trial to check it out. We also use freecampsites.net and Campendium as well. Now, when you're tracking all of these trips, you need a great planning tool for that, and that's when we use the RV Life Trip Wizard app. It's very easy to keep track of all of your campgrounds, free campsites, all into one thing. Plus it gives you RV safe directions, and when you have a big RV like what we have, you don't want to be going down a road with a low bridge. So that's the RV Life RV Trip Wizard app. And we have a 25% off coupon down below by using our link. Some of you might say, well, you can't find free camp spots in Florida, for example. Well, actually, we are going to be doing some free camping here in Florida very shortly. So make sure you subscribe so you catch that video when it comes out. The Joyful Campers on Instagram says, yes, staycations this year is what it's looking like for us, plus local campgrounds. If boondocking or free campsites are not available for you, what about Moochdocking? And that's basically parking your RV at a friend's or a family member's house and staying for as long as you possibly can without overstaying your welcome. But also, could you offer to do some help around the house? Maybe some yard work, or help them with some other kind of chores in trade for being able to stay there even longer. It's just a thought, something to check out. There is some gear, plus I also made a video, so we'll put those links down below as well. Luke and Delay on Instagram says, so thankful that we are moochdocking on my sister's land this month. She told us to please stay as long as we can. So that has been super helpful. We'll probably be leaving late March or early April, but it does allow for a nice break. Yes, Moochdocking, great job guys. And hey, where is your sister's land? Might be looking for a spot for some Moochdocking. And let's not forget work camping jobs. And for those of you that don't know what work camping is, basically there are campgrounds all over the country, some state parks, national parks, private campgrounds that need seasonal help to help take care of the campground and check people in to their campsite. And they will give you a free campsite as well as sometimes pay you for your work. So one way of possibly not having to pay for your campsite would be to look for one of these work camping jobs. And actually we'll put a link down below that lists some of these. And this is the time of year to do it. This is when these campgrounds are looking to fill those open positions for the coming camping season. And maybe there's extra hours available where you can actually make extra money at one of these work camping jobs. So what are Sheree and I doing for camping over the next foreseeable future? Well, actually, we are booked solid from now all the way up till the end of July. And these are mostly 3-week camping stays, and some of them are very close. Like here in Florida, the next campsite that we moved to is like 50 miles away, so we don't have very far to travel. And we're bouncing around Florida for the next couple of months before heading up the East Coast. And those campsites, that will start to get maybe a few hundred miles in between those. But I think most all of them we can get to in one travel day. So how are we doing this? Well, Cherie and I have an upgraded Thousand Trails membership with the Encore Resort add-on to that as well. What that does is it gives us up to 3-week stays at over 200 campgrounds all over the country. There's certainly some areas that it doesn't work in, and we love not having to pay hundreds or even thousands of dollars a month for the camping fees to stay at private RV parks and campgrounds or state parks. And for those of you that are very familiar with Thousand Trails, yeah, they're not perfect. Some of them are a little bit run down. You might be tightly packed in there. They could be a little bit noisy. But hey, we don't go generally for what's at the park. But there are also some amazing RV parks in the Thousand Trails system. So don't think they're all run down, but typically we go to have it as a home base for us to get out and explore the area and to do our adventuring. And we also work full-time in the RV, so we need lots of time to work, and we're not concerned about what it looks like outside while we're working. So it is a win-win. Most of these are full hookups, so we get all the electricity and water we need, and there is no additional cost per night most of the time, other than our monthly membership fee, which is like $80 a month, which is automatically charged to our credit card, and that's it. I mean, there are a few of the Encore RV parks that do have a $20 per night upcharge. Those are some of the nicest parks, and they are worth it. Like Sunshine RV down in the Florida Keys, love that place. Well worth the $20 per night, but the regular rates to stay there for people that are not members, it's like over $100 a night. So definitely well worth it. And we have an elite membership, and the reason you need a higher end membership is you get to reserve out farther in advance than some of the smaller memberships, because everybody wants to camp. If you have a really basic camping pass, which you can start out with, it can be a little harder to get into some of those other campgrounds. But I don't think it's that much money compared to what you get. We paid about $4,000 for a used membership, and we put that on a rewards credit card and then just paid it off when that came up. But you can also get payments on a new membership, which is going to be more expensive, but there's a few other perks along the line with that. And I believe everybody's approved. They actually don't do a credit check when they put you on payments. And I know you don't want to generate any extra debt, but when you think about what you might be paying to stay monthly at an RV park, the payments on one of these memberships could be $200 or $300 a month. That's still far less than regular camping fees, so that's something to look into. If this interests you at all, I put links and contact information for the people I work with. They are both experts at this on both the new side, working with Thousand Trails directly, or Campground Membership Outlet. And you can talk with them. And there's other memberships available as well. Let them know what kind of camping that you're planning on doing, and they will help figure out what membership is best for you. And let them know that Tom at Enjoy the Journey sent you. We love our memberships, and I have been talking about memberships for years, even before prices and inflation was this high. I just like to save money. I mean, when I see $100 a night for a campground, I don't want to pay that. and it's just not something I'm interested in. I'd rather pay $0 or $20 a night, or sometimes $10 a night. And there are other memberships as well that I want to mention that you should look into. I think the very next membership that you should get is a Harvest Host membership, combined with the golf package, combined with Boondockers Welcome, which is another membership they purchased recently, but you can get a membership package all combined, get a discount price for all of them, and it gives you access to over 6,000 locations all over the country that you can stay at, from one night at Harvest Host locations to up to 5 nights at a Boondockers Welcome location. So this is a great membership package, and just highly encourage you to check that out. I've got a link down below for 15% off that membership. That'll save you a little bit. You can also think about a membership called Coast to Coast. That's a little bit more expensive, and Kimberly at Campground Membership Outlet has that available. And again, her contact information is below. There's Passport America as well. That's 50% off of campgrounds, usually in the off season or during the week. So that's one way of helping to trim those expensive camping fees. The Joy Sign on Instagram said, we saw $4.35 for regular today. We will be camping just in our home state, staying longer in one place, and in between we'll use Boondockers Welcome, Harvest Hosts, and Walmart parking lots that allow overnight stays. And yeah, we always look for quick stays like Cracker Barrels and Walmarts when we're racing across the country and maybe we don't have time to book that stay at a Boondockers Welcome or Harvest Host. Whatever is available, if it's just for a quick overnight stay that's decent, that's what we're going to use. You could also choose to be stationary for longer than 2 or 3 weeks. Cherie and I have actually stayed for months in one location, and it's just a really nice time to kind of settle down, get lots of work done, get lots of exploring in. And when you're looking at monthly stays, you can get some of the best rates out there. We've paid monthly rates as low as $400 a month in some places. And actually, even down here in Florida, I was talking with a couple at our last meetup down here, and they reserved a spot at Sun Outdoors RV Resorts, which are very nice. And it was down here in one of the larger communities in Florida. 1-year lease, that's a long time. A lot of you may not want to do that, but it was less than $400 a month at a Sun Outdoor RV Resort, which is, I think, is a really awesome rate for down here in Florida. I'm sure that's plus utilities and things like that, but wow, that's going to be saving some money. We actually have a trip coming up at Sun Outdoors RV Resorts, and we will be sharing that video coming out really soon, so make sure you check that out. And farther up north, where the campgrounds are not open year-round, like my home state of Minnesota, the campgrounds open like April, May, and then they close September, October, when it's between the freeze-thaw seasons. And you could look at a seasonal spot, is what they call them, and that's one campsite for the entire season that you've got the rights to use that entire season. It could be $2,000 or $3,000, but when you figure it out that you've got it for maybe 3 to 5, 6 months, that might actually be worth it for you. And some people have the seasonal site, but then they still travel, but they always know they've got that site to go back to. So that is something to consider as well. Dr. Roeder on Instagram says, keeping camper at seasonal site, not moving it to other campgrounds in 2022. Truck will also be parked, no towing. Great idea there, Dr. Roeder, and you're going to save some money with that. All right, time for section 3. This is general money saving tips. And the very first one is make a budget. Now, I know a lot of you probably that's like boring, you don't want to do it, whatever, but just maybe go into your bank account and categorize, what have you been spending money on? There's very simple spreadsheets that you can download. Just Google it. Cherie and I use QuickBooks for both our personal and business. Just download it. It actually downloads automatically from the bank statement, and then you can easily categorize those expenses to see, well, how much do we pay on fuel? How much do we pay on groceries? How much do we pay for propane, camping fees, and all of that? And you need to have an idea of what you're spending and then compare that to the income that you have available for that and decide what your budget is going to be. And it's really important, or your spending could be like out of control. So highly recommend doing some kind of simple budgeting, and some bank accounts out there actually have it built in and it may already be available, so check with your bank first. I think there's other apps like Mint out there that are available. Quicken, we have the business version, QuickBooks again. So make a budget, figure out what is the cash coming in from jobs, retirement, side hustle income, whatever, and what is your outflow? What are all of the expenses that you are paying, so you can get an idea of what you need to adjust for the increase in inflation and these increased fuel costs. And speaking of expenses, we actually made a 1-year RV expenses video. I'll link to that down below, and it's time to make a new one. So again, subscribe to get that video when it comes out. Now here's one way Cherie and I save money on general expenses. We use rewards credit cards, and only do this if you can be responsible, and I'll talk about that more later. We have a rewards credit card for personal expenses and also one for business expenses, and I will link to those down below. Specifically, one is a Capital One Venture card, the other one is a Chase Sapphire Reserve, Preserve, some kind of card like that. But these get us reward points, and they also help us to categorize our expenses at the end of the year. We get kind of a rundown of that as well, which is kind of helpful. Now we pay these off entirely every month, so we don't generate any interest charges. But what this does is we get these rewards points that we can use for all kinds of things. We can get money if we want the cash. We can spend them on websites like Amazon, but we actually do save it for fun money. I actually booked another trip out to Arizona for Cherie and I for a family wedding coming up in a couple of months in Sedona, Arizona. Paid for our flights, got a rental car, got hotel rooms, and pretty much all of it entirely with points. Thousands of dollars worth of travel at no extra cost, or virtually no extra cost. So congratulations to Chris and Lacey. We can't wait to see you guys when you guys get married in the Red Rocks of Sedona. Now again, only use credit cards if you can pay them off monthly. And they're actually rewards credit cards. There's fuel credit cards with discounts and fuel rewards. That might be one way you can save money. But again, if you can't pay it off, don't use this method. Use a debit card, for example, that comes right out of your checking account. Now, I don't want to get in a fight with the Dave Ramsey fans out there. As some of you know, that I don't really disagree with Dave Ramsey's opinion on RVs. He thinks everybody should pay cash for an RV, and that's not really feasible for a lot of people. He doesn't think they're a great investment, but actually I think RVs are a fabulous investment in making memories, because, you know, life is meant to be lived and enjoyed, and if you generate a little bit of debt buying an RV on credit, then I think it's worthwhile. So, but for you Dave Ramsey fans, I do love his whole debt-free attitude and having as little debt as possible. We totally agree with that. So don't use credit cards unless you can absolutely pay them off monthly. And if you want my calling BS on Dave Ramsey video link, that will be down the description as well. And you Dave Ramsey fans, don't give me a hard time. And Susie Cruiser on Instagram says, continuing as planned, just tightening up our belts for the wild ride. Eat out less, wear the same clothes, knocking off gifts for a while. Love that attitude, and I think travel is like the best gift. So maybe talk to your family, talk to your spouse, significant other, and say, hey, let's have that, more expensive trip, or continue that trip and just not do gifts this year. And you could maybe buy less clothes. So many ways that you could spend less in other areas. We're going to talk about more on food here in a little bit. Now, Cherie and I still like to eat out once in a while, splurge a little bit, but if I can save money on that, I definitely do. One of my favorite websites is Groupon for stuff like that. And actually, I just got a massage for the first time in several years, which I badly needed, but combining coupons and the Groupon and everything, it was less than $50 before tip for a 1-hour massage, and that was awesome. So, when you get to an area, you can go to Groupon and put in your location. All of a sudden it populates with all of the different deals that are available in that area. Another way you can save money is by coupons, online coupons, grocery store coupons. Sometimes you can double up on the manufacturer's coupon and the individual grocery store coupon, and certain shopping apps like Ibotta. And Cherie and I have not been great about doing that kind of stuff lately, but some people, I'm sure some of you out there, have done really well by being able to combine 2 and 3 different programs, discount programs, coupons, and really saving a lot of money. Just takes a little bit of time and planning to do that, but that is another way to save money. Oh, and this is one way. A lot of people are blowing a lot of cash because it's so convenient. Those of you out there, and me included sometimes, getting food delivery through DoorDash or Uber Eats or any of the other services out there, they make it so convenient that you don't pay attention to the delivery fee and the higher prices on the food and the extra tip that has to go to the delivery driver, which they definitely deserve. But you could be looking at a pretty expensive meal by the time it gets delivered to you. Certainly convenient, so stop with that. Here's what I would recommend, that if you're going to have food delivered, make sure you sign up for their program and watch for their coupons, because all the time it seems like Uber Eats and DoorDash will have like $10, $15 off of something that will help to take care of some of those extra fees. But what I like to do is just call the restaurant directly and just say, I want to pick up an order. And then there's no extra fees, there's no delivery fees, there's no tipping involved. And if the restaurant's only a couple miles away, you could bike or e-bike there, or it's a very short trip in your vehicle. And sometimes it has literally been half price to go pick up our food rather than, having it delivered to us, which is certainly more convenient. And the obvious way of saving money is to just do more cooking at home, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. L. Jarnigan on Instagram says, we were in the same situation back in 2008, except most people made a little less money then. We'll get through it again. We're still keeping our plans for travel. We're changing our food plan to make up the difference. No eating out. Great attitude and well said, guys. Eating out could easily, for 2 people with appetizers and drinks, entrees could cost well over $100 for 1 meal, and that could buy a lot of just regular groceries. So that is one way of definitely saving money this camping season. Sandra7096 on Instagram says, I will have to eat PB&J on the beach to pay for the gas to get there. Now, Cherie would do that definitely to make sure she got her beach time in. Now, how do Cherie and I save money on food and we are healthier? And Cherie and I are not doctors, we're not health experts, so always use your own judgment or the judgment of your healthcare provider before acting on some outside advice like what I'm about to give you. But Cherie has lost over 40 pounds. I've lost around 10 pounds and feeling great. How are we doing it and spending less money on groceries? It's fasting, intermittent fasting actually, and the keto diet. And for years we were not fans of the keto diet at all. Did not think it was balanced, but we've looked at the science, the research around both of these diets and the health benefits, and they are there. Now, I follow, and actually Cherie pretty much right now follow the OMAD diet, which is 1 meal a day. And think about it, how much less food is that instead of 3 meals a day, or some diets are pushing 4 or 5 small meals a day, which we think is way wrong. You will not lose weight with that, in our opinion. It hasn't worked for Cherie in the past. And you might be thinking, I can't possibly get by on 1 meal a day. I'm going to be starving. I felt the same way and didn't do it for the longest time, and I'm a type 1 diabetic. And actually my blood sugars are better now than they were when I was eating 2 and 3 meals a day. I take a lot less insulin, which is more healthy for me. My A1C, my average blood sugars, are so much better. And what I do is I'll have like a snack late afternoon, like some almonds, but then dinner time, it's a feast. You know, it's a nice cut of meat, chicken, fish, seafood, and a big salad or a cooked vegetable. I just avoid as many carbs as possible. But for normal people that don't have to worry about diabetes or something, it's supposed to be a feast. Literally, you can eat just about anything you want for that 1 meal. So that's pretty cool. You're not counting calories. You're not worried about that dessert, portion sizes, anything like that. You eat whatever you want. And so Cherie and I, when it's steak, it's usually a filet mignon, you know, when we do steak, and it's just the best cut of meat we can get. But Cherie has recently discovered another hack where you can take cheaper cuts of meat and, you know, meat that's just not as tender and make it amazing. And that's something called the sous vide. And we will put a link down below for that, but look for some more information about that. Cherie, I know, is looking forward to making some cooking videos using that. She is loving this item right here, so that is something to definitely check into. And eating this way is simple. You save time. You're not planning other meals throughout the day. You know, you don't have to take a lunch break. You don't have time for breakfast in the morning. So it's something to definitely look into. It may not be for you. It may not be for everyone. But again, there are health benefits as well as the benefits to your pocketbook and having more time available. Plus, when I cook, I grill outside typically all the time. That helps to save on the temperature inside here so it doesn't get too hot inside of the RVs. And that's another way you can save a little bit of money. Also, for saving money on groceries is try to take as few of trips as possible. Shopping maybe once per week or less if you can stretch it that far. So what Cherie and I like to do is go to like Aldi and Walmart for some of the basics. I try to get as much as we can at those places, but we often go to Publix for fresh veggies and our meats, because the veggie selection at Wally World has not been the greatest lately. And or a local butcher for fresh cuts of meat that are just usually the very best. Now, if you've got room to buy in bulk, this is not something we typically do, but a lot of people do like to buy in bulk by going to Costco or BJ's, for example, where you can stock up a little bit and have a little extra savings there as well. It all depends on what kind of stores are available in the area that you're camping in. But if you're going to a busy touristy area, I would definitely shop before you get there, because prices at a lot of grocery stores in the touristy areas are going to be higher. So you might want to shop before you head out on your camping trip. Oh, and I have to tell you about a story about how we tried to save money on meat. That was a big flop. Is we fell for the traveling meat salesperson pitch at an RV resort a month or so ago. And he knocked on the door, acted like he had just delivered meat to a neighbor, and was very friendly, said lots of nice things. Oh, if somebody didn't want this, I've got extra, it's really cheap. And it was really cheap meat. He was very conversational, very good at his spiel. But you know what? We got it, we paid him, and the meat was just not that great. It was very tough and not tasty at all. I would call this kind of salesperson a scammer. I think it's worth mentioning that these kind of people are going to RV parks and trying to, I think, take advantage of the situation where people have less money. They certainly want to have good meat and they fall for it. And yeah, the online reviews for this company were terrible. There's several ones out there. Long story short, he ended up giving us our money back and picking up the meat. So it was, other than wasting our time, but it was a lesson that we get to share with you. I just wouldn't trust that kind of a situation for getting a really great deal. I don't know. What's been your experience? Have you ever gotten really good quality food from a traveling salesperson? Maybe you have. And so you can let us know in the comments below. And another way that you can possibly save money if you are making payments on your vehicles or on your RV is to refinance. Is your credit better now? Actually, this is something that Cherie and I need to do. I don't think our interest rates are the best that they can be. And sometimes refinancing could save you quite a bit of money, pay off your RV or your vehicle faster. Just another way to trim your budget. All right, section 4 is how can you make more money, like some side hustle income. I've got several tips available for this as well. The very first one, if you have a heart of service, you like making a big difference for people, 22Zero, which we mentioned in a previous video, is still looking for coaches to train. There is a fee to train, but then you can become a coach. And what you do is you help people to basically be cured from PTSD, depression, other mental issues through Zoom. And as long as you have a good internet connection, you can do this in your RV. And actually, several of you out there, several of our viewers were in the class, this very last class a couple of weeks ago with Cherie when she got trained to be a coach as well. And this is such a cool organization. We'll link to them down below so you can inquire about the training, but they offer this service to help cure PTSD with military and first responders at no cost. There's a fee for other individuals. Hundreds of you have gone through it and have had results. Cherie and I are thrilled. We have an update video coming out soon that we can't wait to share with you. But I want to share it here because it is very possible to do very well. There are coaches that are doing sessions, multiple sessions per day with individuals, making a huge difference and bringing in some serious cash. So I think it is a great side hustle, but also helping people to just turn their lives around. And we just love this organization, and we just want to keep supporting them. And so much more information coming out about that. We can't wait to share it with you. I mean, if there's one positive thing to COVID and the pandemic, is so many more jobs can be done online. So now, if you are looking for income or work from your RV, there are tens of thousands of jobs available. I'll link to some of those down below, whether it's part-time or full-time. This is just such a great way to be able to get on the road now, whether it's part-time or full-time. Look for some kind of contract or regular employment work that you can do, but still have plenty of time to get out there and enjoy your camping trips. And of course, like I said before, you have to have great internet. I'll put links below to our internet videos and what our current solution is, which works great in most locations. So I've mentioned work camping before, but besides campgrounds, there are certain farms that need help with the harvest. There's Amazon that needs help during the holiday season. And so there's other places that you can apply and have your camping site paid for besides making money, and sometimes very good money. Some of that harvest work is really hard, but I hear you can do very well financially. So again, there will be links down below to help you find those jobs. Eric on Instagram says, no, our 2022 travel plans are not changing, but we will absolutely be changing our budget. We have 10,600 miles planned for this year. Oh, that's a lot. Also, Gene will be taking on a part-time remote work job for the year, and we're hoping that will help close the gap. Yes, great plan, guys. Good luck. If you still have a sticks and bricks apartment or a house, or a garage full of stuff, or a storage unit like I still have, do you really need all of that stuff? Is there items of value that if you just listed it on Facebook Marketplace, for example, that you could get cash for? You may have thousands of dollars worth of stuff that you don't even need anymore, that if you took a few hours to list it and sell it, you might be able to pay for your entire camping fuel this season. So look at your stuff. Do you really need it? And the side benefit of that is you feel better. The less stuff you have, it's less things to worry about, less clutter that you have in storage or in your garage or in your house. And it's a good thing all the way around. So can you sell some stuff that you don't need for cash? All right, section 5. What are the advantages to higher prices? You wouldn't think there's any advantages at all, but actually there are a few. The first one is people are already canceling campsites, and some of these are in really nice areas. So some of those hard to get into touristy areas you might be able to get into now. So what you can do is, there are some campground hacks that we have. I made a video last year all about how to sneak into sold out campgrounds. I'll put a link down below where I share all of my tips on how to book into some of the most desirable campsites out there. So look into that, and you might be able to pick up some of these cancellations. And another possible benefit is some campgrounds might be less full, maybe not so packed, not so noisy, maybe easier to get into, get out of. Another possible benefit. And speaking of some of these touristy places that have traffic and stuff like that, maybe there'll be less traffic, and less traffic means less time spent trying to get where you want to go, but also less fuel spent on getting there. And slowing down, not feeling like you're in such a rush to get there. If you stay longer everywhere, you're going to be able to stop and smell the roses, so to speak. Be a little bit more relaxed, not feel like, ooh, we only have 2 or 3 days here, so we got to do all these things and get back going on the road. So that might help you to have a little more peace of mind, be a little bit more relaxed. So that is a benefit. And spending more time in one area is giving you more time to explore that particular area. Cherie and I have sometimes spent months in one area and will still only scratch the surface of all the things there are to see there. So not being in such a rush to get to so many campsites, taking your time, not only will you feel more relaxed, maybe more happy, but you can see more in that area. So that is also a potential advantage. So now let me ask you, what are your plans for this season? Have you changed them, or are you going to just go ahead and figure out through some of these tips that we've shared today, or maybe some of your own? And please share those down below. What are your tips? What are your plans? We want to know, because as a community, you know, we got this. We are not going to let inflation, high gas prices wreck the camping season for 2022. You know, we can get through this and we can have fun. So who's with me? Join us out here on the road. We can't wait to see you guys out here. We've got more meetups coming up to see you guys on the road. Cherie and I are super excited. Again, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you catch all of our videos. But remember to enjoy!